What's cracking with you people? Anansi here and welcome back to Jack X Combat Racing. In the last one, we discovered from Blitz that apparently Mizo has a surprise racer he's bringing in for the final rounds of the competition. In this one, we're going to keep going through and maybe we'll get to that point in the story. Just a heads up, this episode might go on a little bit long today. Just because I want to start off before we go into the story by going to the secret shop. The secret shop has a couple of extra features in it. For instance, here's some general unlocks. You get mirrored tracks. So if you want a bit of a challenge, instead of racing the tracks the normal way, think of it like mirrored and like mirror mode and Mario Kart. You just race the tracks, but all the turns are reversed. Mirrored adventure mode, pretty much same thing, but it's adventure mode. This one you get to unlock Daxter and Pecker, and some characters we have not actually unlocked yet. Now Daxter you can actually unlock, I believe, if you have a PSP, and Daxter you can, I believe, connect it to the PlayStation 2 and get them that way. But it also allows you to unlock him this way for people who don't have that right now. You can also unlock Pecker, and there's one other hidden character in there. You have your scan for characters, which allows you to, scan for Jack and Daxter, Jack 2 and Jack 3. I believe I did this at the start of the series. But now that we're a little further in here, I want to go ahead and show that you can unlock, well, there are two vehicles you can unlock. We can also unlock hidden movies and whatnot. You can also unlock new helmets for your characters to wear, if you really want to. Antennas, you got your pennant antenna, metalhead trophy, precursor orb, a Daxter bobblehead, a Clank bobblehead, because yes, you can actually unlock Ratchet from Ratchet Deadlock via the scanning feature. I remember when I first learned about it, I didn't know about the scanning feature for a long time. I beat the game like 8 times before I went to the secrets menu, and I hit scan for characters, and I unlocked like all of these characters. I'm like, what's going on? You get your obvious, use your obvious fairy dice. But today, what I want to do is I want to unlock, I forget the exact one, but I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and use our. We have 100,000, right? So we're gonna go ahead and use all 100,000 to unlock the more expensive rims. And I just want to kind of show off like what some of these look like. I forget what these look like exactly, but I want to say this was the one that I usually get. And we get this, and that's gonna be about it for right now. We could have unlocked the sand shark, which we might do later. But I wanted to unlock the rims, and then we go into customize to see our new wheels. Let's see here. Got some new wheels here. So we got. Here's the. No, I don't think those are it. I think. Yeah, here they are. Okay, so here's the EDAs. Not too bad. Here's your magnesium trifles. I believe these were the rims I usually race with. Here's your Spinworks Heavy Metal. Then here's your depleted Eurotrax. So if you want something different, the secret shop does have some interesting wheels you to grab. Interesting parts you to grab. I'm gonna use these because once again, this is purely aesthetic stuff. It's not gonna change how the vehicle performs. And we're gonna go back into adventure mode. Because I believe we are not too far off. Yeah, we're actually not too far off from beating the game. So let's see if we can't go ahead and beat the game in this part. So let's start off with. Let's go with Mountaintop Highway.
Let's try a nice little death race up and over the Mountaintop Highway. Phew, all those ups and downs are enough to make a girl sweat. And you'll be sweating if you don't win this event. Show 'em how it's done, Jack.
So yeah, we got another death race going on. Let's go ahead and take our shiny new rims out for a spin on the racetrack. Now, in the last episode, I spent a good amount of time talking about narrative and ramping up the stakes. I want to actually go ahead. I wanted to elaborate more on that, but because we were kind of pressed for time, I didn't want to go too far into it without what's the word I'm looking for? So I want to be boosting during this so I can get the get those lap bonuses. But the one thing I don't think I had time to go into is how you can up the stakes in the wrong way, like where you can artificially up the stakes. And honestly, I don't know if I want to catch a lot of flack for this, but I'm going to go ahead and use it's a fairly popular show when I was in college, and this was a couple of years back. I believe it came to an end, I want to say, not last year, not in 2020, but I want to say 2019, and that's Game of Thrones. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I say this full well knowing that I have not finished Game of Thrones. All I know is I think the last episode I saw of Game of Thrones was up to the Red Wedding. It was with a friend of mine in college. And while I did enjoy the first 2 seasons, I thought it was engaging, it was definitely gripping. It was a different take on fantasy that I was just not used to, because up until that point, fantasy was, for me personally, fantasy was Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. Granted, Star Wars is a science fantasy, but you get the point. It had a more... Oh, there we go, I'm dead. There were obviously, there's obviously like the other games like there's like games I play like Jack and Daxter. It's very much a fantasy. I think it became a science fantasy when they went into Jack 2. That's an obvious one right there. But you get the general gist. What I've defined as fantasy. Apparently, George Martin is actually a fan of Lord of the Rings. I bring this up because I remember there was an interview he did where he said even though he respects Tolkien and his work, he thinks that ultimately Tolkien's work did more harm to fantasy than good. And I will give Martin this. He stuck to his guns. And to my understanding, the first 4 or 5 seasons of Game of Thrones stuck pretty closely to the books, because I think after season 5, they didn't have any more material to work with because he was still writing the books. So, yeah, so I'm gonna give you that brief overview right now because, in my opinion, I think it's the opposite. I understand where Martin's coming from with regards to Tolkien's work. Tolkien's work is very predictable. You pretty much know.
The Atoll Arena has plenty of places to hide between cliffs, so keep moving and be a hard target. Don't get stuck in the water or you'll be a sitting duck. In the open areas, hit your targets hard and then get to cover.
Alright, well there we go with that. Let's put on a different set of rims for this bad boy. But yeah, no, I mean, going back to it, I understand where he's coming from with that. Believe me, I do. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. The dude has several different books that he's written that aren't just Game of Thrones. But in my honest opinion, I think that Game of Thrones as it stands now has done both good and bad for the fantasy genre. What do I mean by that? Well, go into the narrative point of things, which is where I want to try to keep this conversation focused on. And I know it's a bit of a tangent in regards to Jack, but I want to kind of I want to really elaborate on a previous point. I mean, if you're going to offer ideas of good ideas and stuff, it's important to also offer up what you think is bad. In my opinion, Game of Thrones doesn't do a lot of good for the series. It doesn't do a lot of good for fantasy because it doesn't focus on, at least in my opinion, I don't think it really focuses that much on, did she just go underneath there? She did, okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need that kill real quick. So, yeah, anyway, where was I again? Right, so, I don't think it really does what it needs, what I think anyway Martin was trying to set out to do. It added an air of unpredictability to it, because I mean the one thing that everyone's going to say about Game of Thrones is that you don't know who's dying. Who's gonna die next? Like, people will just die randomly. That was the biggest appeal of Game of Thrones. Well, the death and the sex. But after a little while, it became clear to me that even though it was visually entertaining, it was a visual thrill ride. I don't think that as far as like an actual narrative it did anything good. For instance, there's a reason why I stopped after the Red Wedding, because in my opinion, I didn't even watch the Red Wedding, because in my opinion there wasn't enough going on in the story to keep me interested in it. Like, the character arcs, while they were interesting, I didn't feel like I felt like most of the characters were fun to watch, you know. And it became clear to me that it was basic storytelling. It was pretty much, let's have a bunch of interesting ideas, but I'm more interested in the wow factor of it all, you know. Not so much the actual journey of the story. I'm more interested in the moment to moment, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. It makes for good like I like, for instance, Dragon Ball Z. Like, an argument can be made that Dragon Ball Z doesn't really expand upon its story very much. It's just more about the action, and I would say that's a valid criticism. But for the way people hyped up Game of Thrones and for what it ultimately did, I don't think it was overall worth the hype that it got. That's what I'm basically getting at, because a lot of storylines just kind of get dropped for the sake of wow factor. It feels like, okay, let's go ahead and just kill this character off so I can have a interesting or stunning moment. Not, hey, I think killing this character off would be interesting to the overall narrative. It's, hey, I just want to kind of do this, you know. Okay, he got me, but I threatened someone else with that mine. Yes, I did. One of the biggest examples I feel is the death in the beginning. Beginning of the story. There's a uncle character who you would think is going to play some kind of role in kind of like revealing like what's really going on, or his perspective on the way things are. You think that having him around would help to really push it forward. Well, push the narrative forward, but they kill him off like the very same episode he's in. They show him up. He shows up in the first episode and he's dead like 5 minutes after we see him. So it's like, so what was the point of that character? I'm sure in the book you might have gotten a few more lines, but I doubt it was much. You know. New side panels, nice. I think those once over. So I think we're, so he's got the temple now.
Here's another Turbo Dash high-speed event through the Precursor Temple. No time to watch the ancient scenery. You better ride that turbo till you go blind, or you'll never win here.
All right, ride till you go blind. Let's stick with this. But yeah, it's like going back into it, and I remember when I got to that point. I remember I said specifically, and I'm not gonna be one of those people who's like, oh, I called this from the beginning, even though I did kind of call it from the beginning. I literally said after I got, I think it was right after where was it after? I want to say it was right after meeting the wildlings. I want to say for the first time. I think it was the one, or at least it was the people from beyond the wall, like meeting that civilization for the first time. I remember saying, this show is not going to go anywhere. I remember saying that this show was not going to end. One, I think my friend was there when I said it. I'll have to ask him again if he remembers, but I could have sworn that I remember saying that this show is not going to end well. And I kind of hate that I called it, because from my understanding, it didn't. From my understanding, the show, the final episodes of the show didn't end well because once again, it was following I'm gonna use this bad boy since it's a Turbo Dash event. But I mean, I remember saying that because I remember it was like, okay, so this is a show being. I know I'm spending a lot of time on the accessories here, but give me a sec. As there was a show being produced from a book that's not being finished. People who watch anime for a living know exactly how well that usually ends up. The answer being not very. So here we are. Okay, I crashed right into that, so that's on me. Okay. I should be all right. The Turbo Dash event I usually do pretty well in. But yeah, no, I mean, I remember just thinking to myself that this is not going to end well, and sure enough, it didn't, because I remember thinking to myself, I don't see any of these storylines going anywhere. I see no reason to care about any of these storylines. Because, for one thing, characters just die. I mean, I get that was generally the draw of a Game of Thrones, but it's like, you need something else. You need a little something else beyond just I kill my characters just because. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. I am not getting anything, and I guarantee I'm probably not going to be able to do this. Okay, here we go. Because death. Because you're thinking about death, right? Death is a shock factor thing. That is why in a lot of stories like Star Wars, Star Trek, like especially Star Trek, and Lord of the Rings, is why it was used so sparingly. When you make it so common that it can happen any time, yes, you raise the tension of your story, but you also lure it at the same time. It was only exciting because up until Game of Thrones came out, for all intents and purposes, that's what the average populace was just used to. They were just used to shows that that your main character survived a long time. So even with all of his build-up, when he tried to kill off one of like the main characters who had so much left to resolve, no one bought it.
This is amazing, folks.
And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, just because you have someone that die doesn't mean you've raised the stakes. The threat of death is more interesting than actually killing them. Yes, it's going to be a tease. Yes, you'll get tired of it. Yes, there's going to be several moments of frustration with it, just because it's like, oh come on, can we just kill the guy already? Because it's like, I think, what was it, like, I want to say like the Fast and the Furious series is one of like the biggest offenders of just having its main cast just survive all kinds of random stuff. I think to the point where they even brought like 3 characters back to life. And I'm like, okay, I get where you're coming from on that one. I do. I really, truly do. And turn the main menu. Okay. And Crash City, the waterfront loop.
This is another tough race, Jack. Just remember to turbo when you can and keep your racer pointed down track. If the race gets tight, then go to guns. There are no points for the slow drivers.
Not kidding about that, Kira. But yeah, that's what I mean. Is like, just because you have characters die off randomly, doesn't mean that your story has more stakes. As a matter of fact, I became desensitized to people dying on Game of Thrones well into the first season. You know, I I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna sit here and be one of those hipster guys who's like I never liked it to begin with. Like, no, I did like the show from what I saw. I just lost interest in it. You know? So that's why you gotta be careful with how you go about raising your stakes, because you can very easily do it in the wrong way, and then just turn your story off. Because what happens? Well, when someone dies, it's like, oh well, someone's dead. I remember one of the biggest things was just people taking bets on who was going to die next in Game of Thrones. You know? And I'm like, well, I don't think that was the dude's intention when he made this, the series. You know? I think there was I think at some point there was like an actual like people were getting, oh, those weren't smoke bombs, those were actually like grenades. Okay. But I think people were like actually like trying to like get to a point where they were making money off of this. Okay, you can have that.
You can't hurt me.
Yeah, no, when to fold them. But I think the people are actually taking bets on who was going to die, and I think they were actually like putting actual money down on this, and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit much, guys. But I did enjoy the show while I watched it, but the novelty of it did eventually wear off, because once again, all the death and destruction I say death and destruction, but all the death just lost its luster. It just wasn't interesting anymore because it had been done so much, you know? Did not mean to use that up, but I know it is what it is. Another instance of falsely raising the stakes, well, the Star Wars sequel trilogy. When the original trilogy, and this is something that even the prequels got right, the prequels wisely did not have a planet killer. You may have had these really destructive devices. I think the droid army was like a big thing, but they focused more on like the plot twists and the hidden threats. And I mean, depending on how much you enjoy that your mileage is going to vary on that, you know. So so I'll leave that up to the individual to decide how they feel about that one. Oh crap! Got the good stuff. Oh wait, this is the last lap. Okay, I'm about to die here. Okay, yeah, I lost. I'm gonna have to redo this race. I can already tell that. Oh wow, that the flame actually goes through the shield. I did not know that. I don't remember it anyway. Okay, one more time. I'm running my mouth. I just completely forgot the 1 second lap. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it, looking at the prequel trilogy, and they never use any of the any planet killers. They always stick to like these droid armadas, and it's just escalation until they eventually build up to, which was hinted at in episode 2, till they build up to the Death Star itself. As a matter of fact, a lot of design decisions from the prequel trilogy, if you notice, they never once show the jump to hyperspace from the cockpit perspective in the prequels, because I believe George himself said he didn't want to ruin the magic of that moment for the first time in the original trilogy. So, credit where credit's due, and I'm probably gonna die here. Thought I could jump it. But yeah, no, I mean, that's something they kept in mind. But another thing is like we get to the but I mean, it's like they wisely didn't use the Death Star, or at least the planet killer again, even I think in supplemental series in the prequel era, because you know, people already seen it before, so this really would not have been a point to doing it again. What was I getting at again? So, so when we get around to the original trilogy, yeah, we have our Death Star again, and it's pretty cool to see it. But if you notice, when they bring it back in episode 6, the Death Star never destroys a planet in episode 6. It's just used to destroy ships, because they've already done it once, and they know doing it again just really wouldn't be that interesting. So what does Disney do when they get the sequel trilogy? Instead, well, you have all this space to go, and you're coming off of a trilogy, canonically anyway, that had a planet killer. Why not make a machine that destroys 5 planets at once? You know, instead of making the threat, you know, more narratively interesting, they decide to just make a threat, because, you know, it worked for the first time. And then episode 8, I'll give it credit for this, even though I freaking hate that movie. It did make the wise decision to not have another planet killer. However, it did introduce a stupid plot point of hyperspace tracking, which is just dumb, because that doesn't really enhance the stakes. What it does is it just needlessly overpower. Well, I don't say needlessly overpowers, but it does overpower the enemy forces, but it effectively breaks the series in 2. Because now you have, yeah, we're pretty much right there. So we're going to go ahead and just finish this out, because we're right here at the end. So yeah, this one's going to be a long one today. Going to go for the Iceland, for the southern tour.
This is the snow track, and it's a real test. There'll be lots of terrain changes here, so be careful and stay sharp. Remember to keep high in the banks, or you'll drop into the icy water below. If you don't use weapons, it'll be a cold day in hell before you win. Use them or lose them, Jack.
Alright then. So it's gonna be a southern tour. It's gonna be a long one.
You ready to see some real action?
But yeah, it's like, you escalated in episode 7 of having a planet-sized Death Star, because going bigger and better and whatnot. But your solution in the follow-up to that was to give them the ability to track you in hyperspace. Now, credit where credit's due, it is an interesting concept, but it does effectively make the enemy faction overpowered. You have to find a way to break that, literally by the end of the thing. It also robs any narrative tension, because you know that they're just not going to go anywhere. It would have been more interesting to have that be a space mystery, but that's something I'm going to say for when I get around to my next Star Wars project. But what I'm trying to get at is that even with the hyperspace tracker, right? As much as it does give the enemy an edge, and it does make them seem like, okay, they're somewhat competent, you then make the entire enemy force a joke. So there just is no tension there. Yeah, we have a hyperspace tracker, but it's in the hands of a bunch of inept morons. You know? You make the main bad guy all-powerful, but then you have to show that he's vulnerable to being an idiot, while he's monologuing about not being vulnerable to being an idiot. So it's just, you have ideas in there that could work, but they're ruined by the sheer fact that the story itself doesn't take itself seriously. It's like, so did you want to be a comedy, or do you want to be a serious drama? And then episode 9 rolls around, and instead of, you know, instead of once again making something new, they literally just make the Death Star, but they slap it onto the bottom of a ship and say, okay, now we have 1 million of these things. It's like, well, you've literally just sucked the fun out of the Death Star. So, yeah. There are, what I want to get at this tangent is, and I hope I conveyed it well, I probably didn't. I'll admit I probably didn't. But what I'm trying to get is that just because something seems like a good idea doesn't mean that it is a good idea. It doesn't mean that it is going to enhance your story. Just by being edgy or having a controversial topic, or by giving your enemy this really game-changing device, even if it is like that, if you don't utilize it properly, you run the risk of oh wow, I did not see that coming. You run the risk of still having it fall flat because you didn't utilize it properly, or worse yet, probably because you what's I looking for here? Probably because you just gave them too much too soon. You know, for instance, like for the Last Jedi attention here, but I mean for the Last Jedi, if you're going to have them be tracked through hyperspace, the better thing to do would, instead of having it be a tracker, or having them being, well, if you're going to have them being followed through hyperspace, instead of having this tracker, why not lie about it? Why not say you're not actually tracking them through hyperspace? Why not have it be where it's like, okay, we're going to have them say they can track them through hyperspace, but actually have it be where there's someone on the rebel ship that's giving them hints, because the whole point of that was that just because you are on the good side doesn't mean that people are going to come help you. It can be hopeless. It's to beat them down. That was the point of The Last Jedi. Did it terribly, and I think just changing that one thing probably could have helped it out. But what do I know? I'm just a freaking Star Wars nerd. You know, Game of Thrones. Just because you have characters die left, right, and center doesn't mean the story is going to be inherently more interesting. Anyway, on to the Grand Prix.
This is it, Jack. The Yellow Cup Grand Prix. The winner of this race will be the Crash City Grand Champion and take home all the marbles. Rumor has it there's a mystery racer in this final competition. Mizo must be pulling another one of his dirty tricks. So be careful and get ready for anything. We're counting on you, Jack.
No pressure, right? Well, we're inside the final part of Jack X, and our story's coming to an end. Let's go ahead and knock it out, shall we?
Welcome everyone to the final race of the season. The winner here will take home all the marbles and virtually run Crash City when it's all over. And the loser? Wait, this just in, there's been a late entry for the Mizo team. Sources say this mysterious wheel jockey is one of the best drivers in the world. So stay tuned for all the death and destruction.
Well, it's the final race, eh? It all comes down to this. I just hope I didn't miscalculate the poison's potency. Win quickly and save yourselves. I want that trophy.
I don't feel too good.
Me either.
Your father's agent better have those antidotes waiting at the finish line.
I've got your back, Jack.
And I've got yours.
Hey! Who's got mine?
I do.
Kira?
Kira, you're not going to race.
Daddy, I'm racing, and that's final.
Just like her mother.
Let's do this. All for one.
And one right in the groin.
Let's make Mizo pay.
This is the final round of the Crash City Grand Championship. It all comes down to this. What excitement! What drama! What? Oh, I think I've wet my nest.
GT Blitz? GT Blitz is the final racer that Mizo's team brought in. Oh, things are getting crazy. And now we got Kira in the mix to help us out. Man, oh man. So yeah, these are the final 3 races of Jack X. It all comes down to this. My question is, what did? I mean, we knew that Blitz didn't like Jack and his friends as they started winning more and more races. We all kind of knew that, but I don't think anyone saw Blitz working for Mizo's team coming when they first played this game. I know I didn't. Yeah, we got word that that Blitz's father was a racer, and we. Okay, there's a razor behind me. I'm gonna drop this down here. Okay. Okay, I want to get hit here. Don't mind if I take both of these, do you? Didn't think so. But yeah, I don't think any. I know I did not see Blitz being the mystery driver coming. That I did not see. I thought it was going to be somebody else. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be Errol again. I thought they were gonna have Errol come back from the dead again to race, or some AI and whatnot. But I guess that would be just jumping the shark way too much. Because I mean, like, we already did it once. It wouldn't be interesting to do it again, or maybe even Count Viger, because we don't see him at all. Okay. Drop that. Give me a bit of advantage here. Is honestly as interesting as seeing Kira be in the race, you know? And he has this garish red, like orange and purple car. It's just it is disgusting. You know, but you know, I mean, credit is due. The guy knows how to brand himself. And then he had to brag about himself being the best racer on the planet. It's like, okay, he better show me some receipts. And to be fair, Blitz, I think, unless the AI just completely craps the bed during this race, Blitz is almost always directly behind you. He's almost always in second place. If you're in first place, he will be in second place. Make no mistake. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And I want to say Kira is in this. Yeah, she's in this race. I think she's driving the Dragonfly. She came in last. Okay, I mean, it is what it is. Now on the Eastern Tour.
Grand Prix! Oh, I tell you, I cannot watch! The point standings are too close to gone! Barely an eggshell separates them!
Now my question is, does Mizo have something on Blitz? Or is Blitz doing this of his own volition? Because if he's doing it of his own volition, then that's one thing. Then that would play into him not liking us, but it could also be a red herring, you know? It could just be one of those things where, like, well, yeah, he doesn't like it. He may not like your personality, but you know, it is what it is. But we'll have to find out. Well, hopefully, we'll find out by the end of these races. But going from there, whatever, we're going to here to see. That means I gotta be on my toes. So what's the one looking for here? So yeah, so going back to our earlier comment, so if you want to raise your stakes in your story, don't just do something because it's edgy or cool. Don't just do something because nobody else is doing it. Make sure that when you touch upon an idea, when you do something in your narrative, make sure. Sorry, Kira, didn't mean to do that. You're still gonna get some nookie when we get done with this. But yeah, just because you have a character die, because you have these really impressive weapons of mass destruction in your story, or these impressive what's the word I'm looking for here? These impressive okay, I might have messed that up. These impressive gadgets that make your heroes' lives harder, doesn't necessarily mean that you've made something that's going to last, or that you made something as interesting as you think. No! And that is, I think, the hardest lesson for any new writer to have, because it's very easy to just think that you got it. It's very easy to believe that you are, you know. Man, I am not doing so hot right now. Come on. This is a one lap race. We're already halfway over, so I gotta get my head back in the game. Let me concentrate here for a second so I can get back to it. Oh, come on. Just hit. Good thing I did not pull the Havoc out for this, because this would not have been. Oh, come on. This would not have ended well. Okay. So I'm gonna need to get past Kira here. Excuse me.
You're feeling this?
Wouldn't mind a supernova right about now. Or any yellow eco weapon if I can stop messing with the... Oh my goodness. I am not on my game right now. Okay, second place, come on. Ah! And I saw that too. I really could have moved out the way of that. Okay, so this is where I'm going to end in the sewers. Come on, get it together, get it together, get it together. I'll admit I never was any good at the Haven City maps. Sorry if I'm not talking too much. I'm trying to concentrate really hard because we're getting close to into this race, and I want to get in the first place. But yeah, no, I mean it's like you make sure you flesh out like what you're going to do. Make sure you understand like the implications of what you're doing, and not just do it just because it's cool. Because doing it just because it's cool only works for Halo. Even then Halo was very careful about what it did, you know. Because you listen to any of the developer diaries for Halo, they said that they went by the rule of cool. That if it was cool, they would do it, but they never did it haphazardly. They did at least think about it, you know.
Let's see that shot again.
Let's not say we did blitz. There you go, deflected. A little bit of help would be nice. Oh no, here we go. First place. Oh boy. Huh. Razor beat Blitz. So this means that in this entire race, only 2 of our teammates are in this race trying to get this poison antidote. My goodness.
This is the last Grand Prix event. The winner here will walk away with the Crash City Grand Championship trophy. Grand this, grand that, all these grands my brothers are most.
There we go. Okay, last race. 2 laps. Let's do this on the Death Drome. But yeah, no, I mean it's like we're going to. Actually, now I think about it. We're ending this the Crash City tournament on the track that if I remember correctly, I think this is the same track that Mizo's father died on. Not Mizo's father. Why is it Mizo? That Blitz's father died on. No, it wasn't this one. It wasn't this one. It was yeah, the Mizo had Blitz's father killed on, but it's not this track. It's a different track entirely. Sorry, getting that mixed up entirely. Yeah, what's it getting at again? Right, so let's go ahead and finish this riding tangent so I can be done and have it out of my head. So yeah, if you're going to have your story have stakes, just make sure you flesh it out. That's all I'm going to say. With Halo, you know, yeah, they had their rule of cool and whatnot, but just because they had the rule of cool, they still put in the effort to explain, you know, how the world of Halo works, what the Halo rings are, why they're so important and why they look the way they do, what their purpose is. They weren't just there to be there, even if they came up with a design because it was, you know, a cool idea. Sorry, Kira. No, Home Samus is not angry me about that one. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Anyway, so last race, we're getting there. Ooh, that's a good parasite. Ooh. Sorry, Blitz.
I've got you now, Jack.
Not yet. I'm still here. And that turn usually gets me, but not this time. hold on to this death shield just in case I need it. Well, never mind. Never mind. No, so he does say no. I thought he just beeps. Yes, he does say no. Wait, is that my own? I got hit by my own freaking drone. Ain't that something? And I'm in first place. Nice. I'm still holding onto this onto the shield because if they have another Nova flare coming at me, I am going to be ready for it. Like right now.
Want some more, loser?
I'm still good. But yeah, no, I mean it's like, but since we're pretty much coming to the end of the race here, and hopefully I win because they are really close behind me. It's like, I don't know, they upped the AI difficulty in this, but I remember that I used to be able to do this race and have them pretty far behind me. Unless I'm just misremembering that. Like this could be rose-colored glasses, or I could be misconstruing the circuit tour. Did Kira just hop the track? Or is she that far behind? I think Kira might actually be that far behind. No, her AI is crapping the bed. Okay. Nope. And first place. Yeah, I could be misconstruing that, but I could have sworn that you're able to leave the AI in the dust and not worry about them ever catching up with you again. Wow, Kira, you did terrible. Like, I don't know if her AI just crapped the bed or not, but man, she did terrible. Now I think they might be running on the same logic as like Sonic Rise and other arcade racers, where it's like only like you'll have like one rival AI, and a couple of the other AIs will be really competent, but like one will be rock stupid. Why was Kira the one made rock stupid? Why not like Cleaver? Not bad overall.
Yes, there you have it, folks. The Crash City Grand Championship has been won in style by Jack and his racing team. What a finish! And the mysterious driver turns out to be my co-host, GT Blitz.
You did it, Jack!
Yeah, we did!
Rain, what's going on?
Relax. This whole thing was designed to flush Mizo out. As for the poison, don't worry. I've got the antidotes right here.
How could you know that Mizo would be close?
Father tried to eliminate Mizo for years, but he could never ID the man. Then we realized there is no Mizo. Or rather...
Out of my way! You broke the rules!
Blitz!
I'm Mizo, and losing the bet changes nothing. I'll crush your family and this whole city.
No one else will ever know.
No one except for 200 million viewers, that is.
What?
Smile for the cameras, big boy. Every star has to fall, right, Mizo?
Ah! You will all die!
Akram Jack!
Surprise! GT Blitz was Mizo. Now, throughout this entire race, Mizo is programmed to always stay ahead of you. He will always have red eco weaponry. So all you gotta do is just shoot him down.
Take him out!
And so yeah, you're never gonna get in front of him. He's always gonna have red eco weaponry, even though you don't see him pick up any red eco weaponry. And you have to beat him before a certain point in the track. We are on the I believe this is the Western Tour, the Western Eastern Tour. And you gotta beat him before the tour runs out. In the meantime, you know, Rain is giving you tips and whatnot. Now here's the upside to this. Mizo's red eco. Mizo's red eco weaponry is nowhere near as potent or as powerful as the standard game would let you have it.
She'll betray you, you know.
Are you still talking?
Rain, she'll become even worse than me.
Right. Like how you killed your own father?
And why not? He left us for his sick love of racing. And when he did, we vowed to own the whole damn sport. All of it! Every last part. You have a habit of leaving people to die, don't you?
You get used to it.
And just then, I pushed Jack to safety as the car exploded in a fiery inferno.
Wow. Great story, Dax.
Great racing, everyone.
Wonderful driving.
Thanks.
I was talking to my daughter.
Well, everyone, I must be on my way. Thank you all for helping me take out my father's enemies. This town will be a better place for it. And thank you, Jack, for showing me the light.
Take care.
Be better than your father.
You know, that old girl ain't so bad. Hey, she forgot Crew's diary.
Hello, reindeer. So it's our little secret, eh? Just pour it into your glass first. 3 seconds and no more. And yours will have no poison. The rest will get a full dose. Then we'll take down that miserable Mizo and be the top crime family in Class City. I only wish I could be there to give you a big hug. Like father, like daughter, eh?
Oh my god.
Call a meeting. I want every crime boss present. That's right. I'm running this town now. Father was too soft. No, don't eliminate the racers. They were my friends. Although probably not any longer. Ah, well, it's just business.
Who would have thunk?
Well, if you'd all been thinking with your heads.
Yeah, Jack. The important thing is we won. And we're alive.
And we brought down that scumbag Mizo.
And we rocked the racing circuit, right, Jack? I said, right, Jack? Hey! Will you kiss her already? Sheesh. Oh, yeah. That's what I call a photo finish.
Four games in the making, and we finally get the kiss. And our end credits, most in proper Jack and Daxter tradition, shows off each of the character models. Jack's character model isn't too bad. I still prefer his 3 model, but you also get to see each racer's preferred vehicle. Torm prefers the Javelin. I guess I was wrong about that one. He's either preferred characters and the preferred vehicles and preferred color schemes. So yeah, end of the game, turns out Rain was never poisoned. She was only helping out just cuz. So it's incredibly likely that she would have kept doing this will reading over and over and over again until they eventually won. And now, with Mizo dead, Rain's running the crime syndicate. Well, Rain's running Crash City anyway. Before we get more into what I think about that, could I just address what Mizo said near the end of it? That Jack has a habit of leaving people to die. If that's a meta commentary on the entire Jack and Daxter series, Jack's only left people to die once. You could argue twice, but really he's only done it once. And that was with Crew in Jack 2. You could argue that Gull and Maya he left for dead. You could argue that. But Jack 3, he outright kills Errol. Like there's no leaving him for dead. He's just dead. So really he's only done it once. You know? And yeah, that's pretty much it. So with that, Jack X comes to an end. And no, they never made a follow-up to Jack and Daxter. I would have loved to see, well, not Jack and Daxter, Jack X. I would have loved to see a second Jack X game, because the way they made it out to be, they made it seem as though. Also, here's your tip right here with I think that was Shiv. Shiv has a well, actually no, not even that. Like pretty much all of Mizo's gang has flames on their arms. So when you see GT Blitz in that cutscene, where he's racing as his arms rolled up, you see him with the Mizo gang flames on his arms. So you already knew that there was something up with him there. But him being, you know, Caden, I remember Caden. Awesome. Oh right, the other characters you can unlock in other through scans and whatnot. Anyway, what's getting at again? Right. So what I thought was going to happen was that later on we would get a Jack X2 or Jack Double X or whatever you want to call it. Where Rain is the main villain, or where she's trying to call in a favor from Jack. Like maybe all this goes up in flames and she needs his help to get things back on track. But we never got it. We never actually got that game. And I think there is still room to do a second Jack X, to do a follow to his game, to improve upon what was there, really make the tracks their own, and there's Pekka flying around his lone personal dragonfly. I do think that there is room for it, but whether or not we get it, who knows, you know? And there's Daxter's own vehicle. Yeah, Dax as a vehicle you can unlock. You can unlock that car. I think you just have to beat the game and you get it. Because other cars, I do remember, I think there's only 2 that you can buy. And we're about the Jack. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing this follow up to this game. I wouldn't mind seeing the Jack and Daxter series get what happened with Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, where they, redo the graphics for all the games. Maybe fix some of the glitches, some of the platforming, some of the racing stuff. I think there is room for it, and then maybe revive the series. But whether or not that ever happens, who knows? And yes, as of right now, this is where I plan on ending my journey with the Jack and Daxter franchise. There is one more game after this. Technically 2, but I already did one of those. It is called, I think it's called Jack and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. I don't have any plans of doing that game. I'm going to be 100% with you. I don't have any plans of doing that game right now. If that changes later on, trust me, you will see. But as it stands now, no, I have no interest in doing that particular game, because this was the swan song for Naughty Dog. This was Naughty Dog's final run with Jack and Daxter, and it was such a good way to end the series, to end their run with this game before they moved more permanently on to do games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and there was one more that they did, and I can't remember what it's called, and I feel kind of bad for not remembering it. But yeah, moving on to more narrative, more grounded story-based games. Because you can kind of tell that, especially after Jack 2, I think Jack 3 especially, it shows a little bit in Jack X, but Naughty Dog wanted to do more serious work. You could tell in the writing they wanted to have work with more stakes, with more impact to a story, where you felt challenged by everything going on, by everything, by the world itself, and I felt like with Jack and Daxter they felt they couldn't do anything. I remember there was an interview they said they stopped making Jack and Daxter games because they felt like, okay, how do I put this? They were working on Jack 4. There actually is concept art of Jack 4 out there. You can look it up. And I believe one of the developers said, we were working on it, but honestly, a lot of the team didn't feel up to it, and they felt like they were forcing it. And they said, and I remember he said, if we're going to make another Jack and Daxter, we want to make it because we want to make it. Otherwise, we're going to leave it where it is. And honestly, I'm fine with that. I think that's a lesson that a lot of franchise developers, movie, books, games, whatever, need to learn. That eventually you do have to leave well enough alone. Okay? You gotta know when to just let it all be done. One of my favorite franchises right now, Halo, I touched upon it earlier, is going through a bit of a rough patch right now. When I get to Halo, I'll let you know, but they probably should have left that one alone after Reach.
Watch out, boys. Here I come.
And with that, we unlock Kira. Faithfully by Jack's side in all of his adventures, this girl is growing up and no longer content to be just a mechanic. Kira's looking to catch Jack's attention any way she can. So we're actually going into that. So apparently, according to this, Kira is 5'6", 120 pounds, and 18 years old. Huh.
Let's make the crowd scream.
New driver unlocked. GT Blitz. Half sports announcer, half racer, all jaw. All jaw. That's funny. GT Blitz is ready to show everyone how to win, just as long as his big mouth doesn't catch too much air and slow him down. We don't unlock Measle, but we do unlock GT Blitz. And with that, if we go back into the secrets like we started this episode off with, we should have a new car. We have, let's go ahead and buy the Sand Shark and the Naughty Dog. And the Naughty Dog. You also have these movies. The Hot Coffee movie. I want to show a lot of this off in a bonus video later down the line. But a lot of stuff is pretty funny. For instance, this is a reference to Grand Theft Auto. this is a reference to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and it is ridiculous. Anyway, let's go into vehicle select and let me show off the not this one, the Sand Shark. The Sand Shark comes fully maxed out. It is a single cab car. It has a maxed out gearbox, maxed out armor, maxed out turbo, maxed out engine. It has the fastest acceleration in the game, the highest armor in the game, but the lowest top speed. Decent what's I'm looking for? And decent turbo. Then you have the Naughty Dog, which is just average. The Naughty Dog is just average, and it is literally the vehicles that Jack is being chased by in the opening of the game, but they're colored in the Naughty Dog emblems, in the Naughty Dog color scheme. It is how it is. Now, there's something I want to bring up with this real fast. If you go into exhibition mode before we finish off here, so you want to do circuit race, rookies, creating single mode. So we want to do circuit race. So Jack is canonically 19. And this is Ashlyn. She's 27. Rachel's 31. Cleaver's 51. Kira's 18. Shiv is 29. Edge is 31. Cutter's 30. Torn is 30. Sig is 28. Your 86 is 3. He's 3 years old. Oh my god, it's Bender. Anyone who's seen Futurama should get that joke. Rain is 20. Jack in Jack 1 is actually 15. Jack 2 is 17. Jack 3 is 18. GT Blitz is 38. And Jack X is 19. Interesting. In this one you can modify the pickups, that kind of stuff, the number of laps, that kind of thing. You guys, I don't know how many laps you can. Oh, 10 laps. Okay. So if you really want to, you can have like a really long race. Bit of a thing to note about the vehicle. I didn't mean to do that.
This is when it's
I'm gonna exit out of this. I did not mean to do that. We're going to end event. One thing to note about the vehicles in exhibition mode, there is a glitch where the vehicles their stats are randomized. And I don't mean just randomized, I mean randomized in the sense that even their maxed out stats, like where the bar supposed to end, it will just randomly drop in half. It is weird. I don't know why it happens, but it does. I remember that would be the glitch in the old PlayStation 2 version. But anyway, with that, and this very, very long video, you guys gonna be in for a treat today. Our time with Jack and Daxter has come to an end. It's been a great run. I've enjoyed every moment of making these videos, and I'll catch you next time for the next project on this channel. I've been Anansi, you've been awesome. Peace!